I want to say something to you directly before we get into anything else. If you have been the one doing all the reaching out, all the texting first, all the explaining of your feelings, all the good morning messages, this video is for you. If you have been mixing up a little bit of attention with actual deep connection, if a single reply from her can make your whole day and silence from her can destroy it, this video is for you. If you genuinely believe that trying harder, being more available, showing more of your heart will eventually earn you more of hers, I need you to hear something that might be uncomfortable at first. It won't. And it isn't because you aren't enough. It's because attraction doesn't work like a reward system. It doesn't respond to effort the way a job does. It doesn't pay you back for hours spent. Attraction responds to something different entirely. It responds to how much you value yourself, how certain you are of your path, how much you respect your own time and your own standards. And when those things are in place, when a man has genuinely built them, not performed them, something shifts, not just in how women respond to him, in how he moves through the world, in how he carries himself, in who he becomes. Today, I'm going to walk you through 8 specific changes that create that shift. These aren't tricks. They aren't manipulation tactics. They are real internal transformations, the kind that change how you feel about yourself first, and then change how everyone around you responds to you second. Number 6 on this list is the one most men never see coming. It looks, on the surface, like it has nothing to do with attraction, but it is the shift that changes everything. I'll explain exactly why when we get there. I'm Lyra. This is Mystique Psychology. Stay with me through all 8 because they build on each other, and the final one ties the whole picture together. Warm, direct, not rushed. Before we go further, if you're new to Mystique Psychology, subscribe right now. Every week, I break down the real psychology of attraction, self-development, and human behavior, the truths that most people won't say out loud. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's get into change number 1. Before we get to the 8 changes, I want to lay down the single idea that everything else rests on, because if you don't understand this, the 8 changes will feel like tricks. And they're not. When people say, she will come to you when you stop chasing her, they don't mean play games. They don't mean become cold or unavailable or emotionally withholding. What they mean is this: stop making her the center of your world and become the center of your own. Stop auditioning for the role of boyfriend. Start being the man who chooses. Stop trying to convince people of your worth. Start living in a way that demonstrates it. There is a mistake most men make. They believe women are drawn to the man who tries the hardest to please them. But that's not what creates attraction. A woman is drawn to a man who is solid, a man who is difficult to knock off his path, a man who has a clear direction, who feels grounded, who can handle his own emotional world without spilling it on everyone around him. When you don't understand this, you end up acting like a polite beggar, good intentions, no real strength. And that combination, no matter how kind you are, no matter how patient, eventually repels the very thing you're reaching toward. These 8 changes fix that at the root. Let's go. The first change is the one most men resist most because it feels counterintuitive when you care about someone. Stop being available the instant she wants something. Now let me be precise about what this means, because this is not about pretending to be busy. It's not a costume. It's not a strategy. It's about actually having things in your life that matter more than checking your phone. Right now, if you answer every text within 30 seconds, if you cancel your plans the moment she calls, if you rearrange your entire afternoon just to see her for an hour, you are communicating something to her nervous system below the level of any words. You are telling her, I have nothing more important than waiting for you. You think you are showing how much you care, and in a literal sense, you are. But what she receives isn't flattery. What she receives is information about your value to yourself, and a man who treats his own time as completely disposable teaches others to treat it the same way. There's an image I want you to sit with. Imagine a young boy standing outside a bakery with his face pressed against the glass, watching other people eat, hoping someone will offer him something. That's the energy of constant availability. It's hunger made visible. And hunger, displayed openly and consistently, does not attract. It repels, not because of cruelty, but because of biology. We are wired to move toward those who are occupied with valuable things, not toward those who appear to have nothing better to do. Now, here's the fear that comes up when I say this. You think, if I'm not instantly available, she'll lose interest. She'll find someone else. She'll think I don't care. That fear is the leash, that exact thought pattern, the one that says she is your only real chance, is what's driving the behavior that's pushing her away. Recognize it for what it is. The practical shift is simple. Answer when you genuinely have a free moment. Make plans and keep them with yourself, with friends, with your goals. Don't let your phone run your nervous system. Move like a man who has things to do, places to be, a life that is already full. There is a meaningful difference between being present and being desperate. One creates security, the other creates pity. Know which one you're projecting. Change number 2. Stop over-explaining. Stop writing paragraphs in your text messages. Stop delivering speeches about your intentions. Stop trying to talk someone into understanding your worth or seeing why you are a good man. Here is a question I want you to genuinely sit with. When a man is truly respected, when he is genuinely valued by the people around him, does he have to explain himself constantly? Does he have to convince people to treat him well? No, because his life already communicates who he is. His actions already say, "This is how I live. You are welcome to join me," or "You're welcome to go." Over-explaining is a symptom of self-doubt. It says, at a level beneath the words themselves, I don't trust that you'll see my value unless I describe it in detail. I need to build a case for myself. I need to persuade you. And when you build a case for yourself to someone who hasn't asked for one, you inadvertently make them the judge. You put them in a position of authority over your worth, and you lose ground you cannot easily recover. Women don't fall in love with your list of reasons. They respond to how you show up every day, with or without an explanation. The practical change here is to speak like a man who trusts himself. Fewer words, more clarity. Say the true thing once, cleanly, calmly, and then watch what happens. Not what she says, what she does. Because what she does is the only real answer. If she treats you poorly, don't say, I just want you to understand how I feel. Say what is true once, and then observe. That single shift from explaining to observing is one of the most powerful changes a man can make in how he operates in any relationship. Change number 3, and this is the one that breaks most men because it disguises itself as patience and kindness. And stop rewarding inconsistency. If she is warm one day and cold the next, if she makes plans and breaks them, if she disappears for days and then returns with a casual hey, and you respond with the same full energy you always had, you are teaching her something. You are teaching her that there are no consequences for treating you this way, that your standards are suggestions, not reality. And once she learns that your rules aren't real, she will walk right through them every time. Not because she is a bad person, because you showed her the door was open. Here is the psychology behind why this pattern is so hard to break. When someone treats you inconsistently, warmth and then cold, close and then distant, it creates a cycle in your nervous system that mimics addiction. The uncertainty itself becomes compelling. You start calling it chemistry, but it isn't chemistry. It's the same mechanism as a slot machine. You keep pulling the lever because of the rare wins, not the consistent losses. You are not a gambler. Stop playing that game. The rule is simple, and it must be real, not theoretical. Give your attention to consistency. If she shows up steadily, with respect and genuine effort, give her your time and your warmth. If she treats your heart carelessly, if she appears and disappears on her own schedule without consideration for yours, give her your absence, not out of anger, not as a punishment, but because your time and your emotional energy are not free. They have value, and you are the only one who gets to decide what they're worth. The moment you start actually living this, not just agreeing with it intellectually, but actually withdrawing your energy from situations that don't deserve it, the entire dynamic of your relationships changes, conversational and confident. We're at the halfway point, and the next four changes are where this gets deep. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, do it right now and drop a comment below telling me which of these three has hit the hardest so far. I read every comment on this channel. Now, change number 4. Change number 4. This one goes beyond dating. This is about who you are as a man. Build a life that would be genuinely good, even if she wasn't in it. I want to be clear about what this is not. It is not about pushing women away. It is not about pretending you don't want connection. Connection is real. It matters. But there is a difference between wanting partnership and needing someone to save you from yourself. Many men say they want a partner. What they actually want is someone to rescue them from loneliness, from boredom, from the emptiness of a life they haven't fully committed to building. They meet a woman and immediately transfer all of that weight onto her, all the meaning, all the purpose, all the reason to get up in the morning, and she feels that transfer. She feels the heaviness of being someone's entire reason for existing, and it doesn't feel like love. It feels like a burden, a man without direction, without goals, without things he has chosen to build and protect. Doesn't feel like a romantic partner. He feels like a project, and no woman with genuine self-respect wants to be someone's reason to have a life. So go build things. Commit to your body, not because it impresses anyone, but because it is the most fundamental act of self-respect available to you. Do your work with focus and intention. Create something that matters to you. Keep the promises you make to yourself when no one is watching, especially then. Become the kind of man whose life is already moving, who already has somewhere to be, something he cares about, a direction he is committed to, and then invite the right woman to walk alongside that life, not into an empty space that needs filling, into a life that is already full. That distinction changes everything. Because a woman can finally relax with a man who carries his own weight. She can be soft when she knows you are solid. She can be vulnerable when she trusts that you are not going to collapse if she is. Change number 5. Learn to be the master of your own emotional state. This does not mean become a man without feelings. It means become a man with discipline over how those feelings express themselves. A man who hasn't done this work will panic when he feels uncertain. He will ask questions that broadcast his fear. Who are you with? Why didn't you text back? Do you still like me? He thinks he is having a conversation. What he is actually doing is shouting his insecurity into the space between them and asking her to manage it for him. A strong man feels the fear. He notices the jealousy. He registers the urge to chase, to ask, to demand reassurance, and then he chooses to act with strength anyway. Not because the feelings aren't real, but because he understands that feelings are information, not instructions. This is what leadership in a relationship actually looks like. Not dominance, not control. The ability to remain centered when the emotional weather gets turbulent. The capacity to hold your ground without becoming cold or disconnected. Women don't want to follow a man they can easily destabilize. If your mood collapses every time she goes quiet, if your confidence shatters every time she seems uncertain, you are not a stable place for her to land. And she knows it, even if she doesn't say it out loud. The practical shift: slow down. When something triggers you, when you feel the urge to send a message you'll regret, to demand clarity from someone who is being deliberately vague, pause, take a breath, wait until the emotional charge has reduced before you do anything. Then, if action is needed, take it from a place of calm clarity. State what you expect once. Then, observe what happens. What happens tells you everything you need to know. Change number 6. The one I told you at the start would surprise you. Set real standards and actually keep them. Here is the distinction that most people miss. A standard is not a preference. A preference is something you would like. A standard is a line that has real consequences when it is crossed. The difference between the two is the difference between a suggestion and a reality. If you say, I don't like it when you cancel on me at the last minute, and then you still enthusiastically rearrange your schedule the next time she cancels at the last minute, you haven't set a standard. You've made a statement about your preferences that you immediately demonstrated don't actually govern your behavior. And she noticed. She always notices. Every time you tell yourself you have a standard, but then behave as though you don't, you chip away at your own self-respect. You teach your own nervous system that your values are negotiable, that your word to yourself doesn't fully count, and that internal erosion is far more damaging than anything she does. It spills into your work, into your friendships, into how you speak about yourself when no one is listening. So, what are your actual standards? If she consistently cancels, you stop extending invitations. If she speaks to you with disrespect, you end the conversation calmly, without drama, without a lecture. If she treats you as a secret, you stop treating her like a priority. Not threats, not speeches, just action that reflects the line you said existed. Here is the hard truth about this. The only people who get angry when you start setting real standards are the people who benefited from you not having any. Think about who loses when you start respecting yourself. Only the people who were relying on the fact that you wouldn't. When some women leave because you've started holding your ground, recognize what you've actually lost. Not a great love, a heavy burden wearing a romantic costume. Change number 7. This is a deeper identity shift than anything we've covered so far. Stop needing to be liked more than you need to be respected. Most men who struggle with what we've been discussing share a common core fear. If I stand up for myself, she'll leave. If I say no, I'll end up alone. If I stop being endlessly agreeable, I'll lose her. So they shape themselves around what they think she wants. They become whatever the moment seems to require. They sand off their own edges so nothing they are causes friction. And then they wonder, genuinely wonder, why she doesn't seem to value them the way they hoped. Here is the psychology of why this happens. Value requires some friction, not conflict, not fighting, but a spine. The presence of a man who has his own opinions and is willing, occasionally, to let someone be disappointed rather than compromise who he actually is. A woman does not chase a man because he is perfect. She chases a man because he makes her feel something she cannot find anywhere else. The feeling that she has encountered someone who cannot be pushed around by her moods, someone who isn't mean, isn't cold, just genuinely doesn't have room in his life for being treated poorly, not as a performance, as a reality of who he is. The shift from wanting to be liked to wanting to be respected is not about becoming harder or colder. It is about becoming more honest, more real, more consistent between who you say you are and how you actually live. That consistency between values and behavior is the foundation of genuine self-respect, and genuine self-respect is the foundation of genuine attraction, not the manipulated kind, the real kind, the kind that actually lasts. Change number 8. The final one. And it completes everything we've built in this conversation. Stop putting her first before she has demonstrated that she deserves it. I want to be precise. This is not about treating anyone poorly. This is not about being withholding or unkind. It is about the timing of your investment. It is about the sequence. Most men give everything immediately, all the time, all the compliments, all the emotional access, all the heart in the first few weeks out of fear. Fear that if they don't move fast, they'll lose their chance. Fear that someone else will claim her attention. Fear that hesitation reads as disinterest. But a man who genuinely values himself does not rush to give his heart away. He watches first. He notices whether her behavior is consistent across different contexts, how she treats people who can do nothing for her, how she handles disappointment, whether she brings peace into his life or whether she brings a mess that he ends up absorbing. He doesn't just ask, "Do I like her?" He also asks, "Does she deserve to be with a man like me?" That second question, that shift from supplicant to selector, changes the entire dynamic of every interaction that follows. Because when you are genuinely evaluating someone rather than just trying to win them, when you are calm and grounded and not dazzled by their surface, they feel the difference. You are no longer a man trying to get something. You are a man deciding whether something is worth having. And that energy, that unhurried, clear-eyed evaluation is usually exactly when real pursuit begins. Not because you played a game, but because you became someone who doesn't need to. Let me describe the man you are in the process of becoming so you can recognize him when he starts to show up in your own life. He wakes up with direction before he checks his phone. He moves through his day with intention, not urgency. He does his work with focus because he respects himself enough to do things properly. He keeps the promises he made to himself, especially the quiet ones, the ones no one else is watching. He has real friendships, people who know him fully. He is warm with them, genuinely warm. But he doesn't allow chaos through his door. He listens without losing himself in other people's noise. He helps without losing his own center. When a woman tests him, and she will, because testing is how a woman determines whether a man's strength is real, he doesn't crumble. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't explain or defend. He simply stays where he is, calm, clear, himself. If she is consistent, respectful, and genuinely adds to his life, he gives her more time, more of his genuine self, more of the warmth he has in abundance. If she is inconsistent, careless with his energy, or treats him like a fallback option, he steps away, without a scene, without a speech, because it simply doesn't fit the life he has chosen to build. He is not someone you walk on. He is not someone you walk away from easily either. He is a man with a heart and a set of real values who doesn't need to control others because he has already mastered himself. I want to leave you with the most important thing I've said in this entire video. The real prize at the end of these 8 changes is not that she starts chasing you. The real win is that you stop chasing things that were never good for you, that you stop negotiating with people who were never invested, that you stop calling your anxiety love and stop calling your attachment chemistry. Whether she stays or goes, whether any particular woman recognizes what you're building, you still win because you still have yourself, a self you can respect, a self you actually chose. You are no longer a man waiting to be selected. You are a man doing the selecting. You are not a man who trades his peace for crumbs of attention. You are a man who protects his inner world like it is the most valuable thing he owns, because it is. When you live this way, really live it, not perform it, the right people will feel it. Not because you demanded their attention, because you stopped needing it. And that is the change that changes everything. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 changes is the hardest for you right now? Which one are you in the middle of? Which one have you already started and felt the difference? Drop it in the comments. Honestly, This channel is a space for real conversations, not just motivational noise. I read every comment, and the most honest ones always get a response. If this video gave you something real today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. That is how Mystique Psychology reaches the people it's meant for. Subscribe if you haven't. New content every week, and I will see you in the next one. I'm Lyra. This is Mystique Psychology. Take care of yourselves out there.